to get away, start again, find a brand new day. So much for me to find, but I've got to go outside.
Hello van fans, welcome to another episode of VFFs, Vanlife podcast. This week coming to you from an actual house. I'm recording this from the straw bale house that I'm renting while I've been in Bulgaria. So it's nice and cozy. You might be able to hear the gas fire going on in the background. I've been here for nearly 2 months now since I did the journey. So I thought I would just talk a little bit about what I've been doing for the last couple of months while I've been in Bulgaria. I've been looking for houses. When I first got here, I was really wanting to look at houses, but it was actually quite difficult to get in touch with anyone, estate agent wise. They seemed to be pretty busy, and I didn't actually see that many houses, but I have been looking for houses. There are some really cheap properties in this area, but I think I've done the right thing by not rushing into anything because I haven't seen the rest of this country yet, and I'd quite like to do a bit more exploring before I make a decision. I nearly did buy a house. I just had, I was like, oh, that's my house. And actually when I first went to see it, I managed to find it just using the pictures from the estate agent, and I went and kind of illegally entered the property and had a look around, and I really liked it. It had a lot of land and it had fruit trees and outbuildings, and the house was okay. It was kind of probably going to fall down in 10 years, but the land was lovely and everything. But I went to view it again officially, and it was so weird. I just didn't like it. So I've decided just to take my time a bit more and focus on getting my residency. So that's what I've been doing. So I've got my residency now, which is really cool. It's taken such a long time. I've been waiting I shouldn't be complaining. It's really amazing, but I have been waiting a long time just because it takes ages to open a bank account. But now I've got everything sorted, and I'm going to be picking up my card in 2 days' time. So I made it. I beat Brexit. I got my residency, and I'm okay to be here for 5 years without having to renew anything. So super chuffed about that. Thoughts on Bulgaria? Honestly, I haven't seen a lot of Bulgaria, especially because it's a pandemic. I'm not exactly doing a lot of traveling around. I'm really just keeping to myself in my house. I've been enjoying the solitude and going on lots of walks and stuff. I can see why people say it's like England must have been in the 50s. It's so much more green and life is a lot slower. So I'm staying in a little village outside of the old capital. It's called Veliko Tarnovo. It has a fortress there, which is pretty cool. If you like old buildings, it's quite a cool place. My village is a little village. It's about half an hour north of Veliko Tarnovo, and there's loads of English people living here. And the weirdest thing is they all seem to be from Yorkshire. Customer service doesn't seem to exist here. Like when you go into the shop and stuff, people have proper deadpan. They're not rude or anything like that, but they're proper deadpan, like that Eastern European thing where people just look at you like you just shot their mother and you're like, what have I done? Yeah, but I love it because I just can't be like that no matter how hard I try. I'm always just like, hello, yes, what can I do for you? When actually I would love to just be like, what do you want, you fucking asshole? But there we go, that's my problem. So I've got loads of animal friends here, which has been definitely my favourite thing about being here. So I've got a friend who is a dog who comes and says hello, and we've started going for walks together, which has been amazing. Sue, whose house I'm living in, she's got 2 cats and they are adorable. One of them is the weirdest cat in the world. He loves to get up on your shoulders. So he comes and sees me every morning and just climbs up on my shoulders, and it's the most adorable thing ever. And he just purrs into my head, and it's really good therapy. I'm loving that. The wildlife is really nice here. If you go for a walk, you might see some birds of prey, or you hear woodpeckers quite a lot. that there's a field like directly outside the house, and every day the shepherd comes past with all their livestock. They've got cows and sheep and goats and dogs and all sorts, and that's really nice. So it's kind of pastoral kind of place. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and none of this has got anything to do with vans. So, but it's kind of interesting, I think, the fact that when you have a van, you can end up in these places, you know, it's like all part of it, the travel experience. I'm actually leaving here in a week's time. I'm going to be going and spending some time in a dog rescue shelter, but I will talk about that in another intro, but that's going to be a really blissful experience for me, so I'm really excited about that. Thank you to everyone that listened to and enjoyed the podcasts about my journey over here to Bulgaria. I'm glad you liked them. Honestly, it was really difficult for me to listen to and edit, and I'm just glad it's done now. You know, it was a difficult journey in so many ways because it is a pandemic. It wasn't exactly a holiday. It really was quite difficult. But I managed to do it, and I'm really proud of myself that I managed to do that. And I'm really looking forward to the journey back, because I don't feel that bothered now about the journey as I did when I did that first journey. So that's going to be quite good as well. I've had some really nice emails from people telling me about their lives and their vans and stuff. So I'm going to start reading out some emails soon. If you would like to write to me, it's vffspodcast@gmail.com. And we're also, I say we, who's we? Me, VFFs is now on Instagram and Facebook as well. So you can just, you know how to use the internet. It's easy to find. On Instagram, it's VFFs_Vanlife_podcast. Facebook is facebook.com/VFFspodcast. So should be easy to find. So it's winter here in Bulgaria, and it's been very mild so far. It hasn't been that cold, although I am glad that I am in a house at the moment rather than in my van, because at night it can get really cold here. I'm thinking about all of you out there who are in your vans right now in this cold season. I think it can be really rather depressing at this time of year, especially as we've just gone into another lockdown. I'm recording this as we've just gone into the third lockdown, so it's not an easy time at the moment for a lot of people. If you are struggling, there are some really good Facebook groups for van lifers. If you just go onto Facebook and just search van life support, you should be able to find the hang on, let me just check it. For God's sake, that's the least I can do. Let's have a look. Okay, so the groups that I'm aware of, yeah, it's Support Van Lifers. That's all one word. If you just find that on Facebook. And then the other one, yeah, it's Van Lifers Community Support Network. So if you are finding yourself struggling, that is a really good place to go, just to find a bit of support or a bit of understanding. Don't be afraid to ask for help. This week's guest, this was such a nice interview. It was so lovely to speak to her. This week I spoke to Jess. Jess was a nervous driver, but a friend's wedding in another country and a vow to reduce her air travel forced her to take the plunge and drive from her home in Sussex to Granada in Spain. We discuss her quirky purple van and her transition to her new Mercedes Vito, her rescue dog Tiny, and introducing her partner to van life. It was so much fun to speak to Jess. She's one of those people that just radiates positivity, and it was so lovely to share some time with her and discuss all the things that we did. So I hope you enjoy this. So without further ado, here is the interview with Jess. Hi Jess.
Hello.
Welcome to VFFs. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to talk to you about your van experiences. So let's start off with your new van. So what van have you got?
The new van is a Mercedes Vito.
Okay, and most importantly, what colour is it?
Black.
And when did you get that van, Jess?
Late September, maybe early October this year. Because the other van, the old van, died a sad death.
Oh no.
Yes,
And
the old van was a Fiat Fiorino from 1994, and it was purple. She had some issues for sure, but eventually she died. She could no longer drive further than an hour, which with Vanlife, slight issue.
Yeah, totally. And so was that your first van?
Yeah, my first baby. Her name was Little Van. She was ridiculously small, but I'm quite short, so that was fine. And she got me all the way to Granada, South Spain, and back. She got me up to Scotland and all around there. And she was good for her age. And I got back from South Spain, and I got home, and I drove about 2 miles, and the exhaust fell off. And I was like, "Oh, super glad you didn't do that in Spain." But really annoyingly, it was like a custom built exhaust, which came out on the side, not at the back. So that was quite a pricey fix. And it took a while as well to do that one. But then when she got her engine problem, the mechanic just said, "Look, it's going to cost thousands to fix this. And you didn't pay anything for this van. So do you really want to spend thousands on fixing this? Or do you think maybe you need to just pay thousands to get a new van?" And so the tough decision was made to unfortunately lay her to rest and then gut her and get a new van. And I've already told my friends we're having a funeral and everyone needs to wear purple.
Yes. For anyone that hasn't seen that van, can you describe the shape of it?
It is a purple blob. It has been described as child hearse shape, and a Pope mobile also got thrown into the mix. And then it just has a long, 1.6 meter box on the back of the front cab bit, which has windows all around it. So it was very hot in the summer and very cold in the winter. But great views from, all angles.
Could you sit up in it comfortably?
Yeah, I could sit up in it fine. I could actually stand up in it, if I kind of cocked my head to the side, which was fine, when you're putting on trousers. That was quite helpful. But it was hard for other people to come inside. My partner, some friends or whatever, we had some dinners in there, and that was always quite cozy.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the joys of the small van. It really is a different experience. Putting on your jeans becomes some sort of logistical nightmare quite quickly.
Yeah, so when I moved into the Mercedes Vito, I was like, whoa, this is so big.
Yeah, so how have you found the transition from tiny small van to pretty big Mercedes van?
I'm definitely a bit more scared of driving it. I hate parking, but that's just something I've got to get used to. So before I had the purple blob little van, I actually had a ridiculous fear of driving and hadn't driven in probably about 8 years. And then all of a sudden I was driving to Spain and back for this wedding, which was probably the third time I'd driven that year. And the first two were kind of practice drives to get me prepared.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so let's get into that. So let's talk about the story of how you first met Little Van and what you did.
So my friend converts camper vans for a living, and she needed some extra hands on finishing a job before she permanently moved to Canada. And so I went to go and help her, and she had converted Little Van and was living in it whilst converting the other vans. And then I took her to the airport on the day that she was flying to Canada, and she just turned around and she went, "Look, here are the keys. Here's the V5 document. Now you've got a way to get to Spain. Have fun." And I was very shocked and also oh, damn, now I have to drive to Spain. I have no excuse.
Wow. And what happened next?
What happened next? I drove home. I called my mom and I was like, "Mom, now I have no excuse. I have to go to Spain for this wedding."
Thanks for listening to this preview of VFF's Vanlife podcast. You can listen to the full episode at vffsvanlife.com/podcast. Hope you enjoy it.
I've got to go outside.